Hey everybody, it's Justin Michael Williams, and I'm so excited to bring you this interview series, The Voices of Hope. And I wanted to bring together some of the people whose voices I thought were the most important for you to listen to. And so if you want to check out the full-length interviews with each of these special guests, just go to this link and you can watch the full interviews now. Enjoy The Voices of Hope. This is for you, for your heart, and I love you.
The pandemic pulled the whole world out of its comfort zone, right? Like we've all just been pulled out, and it's like, there's so many lessons. I mean, I've been asking myself this past month, trying to think about the year and the ways that I've been challenged and the ways my friends have been challenged. And there are a lot of lessons that we can bring with us into the next year. But I think one of the biggest ones is that you're a lot stronger than you think.
It's been this incredible disorder that needed to happen, right? Everything needed to crumble. All the lies of our personal life, what is not a part of our story, our bigger story of our soul, and all the lies of everything, right? And so now is through that crisis, now is the real opportunity to go, what do I really want? Not just me, my head, but my heart.
The suffering leads to the gift, the greatness, and the tests that we're given. If we want something, perhaps we're tested for it. And so our souls are here to experience that tension and release, just like in a great song.
Know that it's okay that everybody's experiencing this, together.
We're scared of what happens in the pause and in the silence, but if we don't have that, there is no beginning of a new cycle or a new thought or a new direction.
Stop fighting it and allow yourself to feel it, because you've never been here before. None of us have ever been here before. Like, you don't know how to respond yet. So just let yourself grieve it, grieve the loss. And there was something about that, like grieving the loss, because whatever comes next is going to be different. It's going to be anew.
Instead of just grieving the lost time, is to appreciate your present now.
I think as so many of us are creating new visions for our lives and wanting to step into the newness of what we are, there is this element of what has to be let go of in some way, and how to really process that. And I think COVID has shown us that the letting go sometimes isn't up to you, but we still have to let go of it.
There's nowhere to go, and there's nothing to do. Can you do that? Nowhere to go and nothing to do. And I'm like in my little 5-foot square of walking meditation, thinking to myself, ooh, suddenly I feel this like pressure bearing down upon me of all the like narratives that I tell myself about all the things that I, quote, need to accomplish in order to be seen a certain way in the world and valued as a human being. And that's really been stripped away. There are millions of people right now who are experiencing the pressure of this nowhere to go and nothing to do that is inside of the norms of what we used to experience. And maybe what is arising is imposter syndrome.
I really feel like COVID 2020 is such a massive heartbreak year on so many levels. And I always bow to the heartbreak time as increasing heart awake, like from heartbreak into heart awake, heartbreak, heart awake, heartbreak, heart awake, so that I don't turn away from the pain, and to embrace it and just keep letting it burst me open in every possible way.
In this body, what has so struck me is how the pandemic has uncovered the incredible injustice in the world.
The challenges are not going to stop coming. Right? Really embracing the fact that change is always happening, and that right now it's a pandemic and we haven't experienced one of those before, or the humanity hasn't experienced one of those in 100 years. So if you have personal, individual goals that you want to achieve, allow yourself to be flexible. Allow yourself to understand that the changes will come, right? Life is all ups and downs, but what you can change is your reaction to the ups and downs. So find your tool, connect with it, use it.
Fear is a tremendously powerful energy that actually can propel us forward if we can learn to work with it.
Think of shadow as anything that we haven't cast the light of awareness to. Anything that we're not paying attention to can be in shadow. So that really is a pretty big amount of things that can be living in our own shadow.
When you start seeing yourself very clearly, you start realizing like, whoa, like, actually there's a lot of parts about myself that I don't like, that you didn't quite see before. So just be cool, like understand that you're sharpening your self-awareness, but not so that you beat yourself up, just so that you give yourself new opportunities to behave in new ways.
Through this conditioning, the conditioning happens in our societies, in our cultures, in our own inner being. There's just so much conditioning and dominant culture pushing certain things that we start to disconnect from the really essence of our being, a separation from the infinite self that we are.
And the moment that you start releasing all these little blocks, you're going to be so much more capable of being like, oh, this is a goal I have. Now, how can I creatively and with determination figure out how I can get from this point to that point?
You've been gifted this whole body instrument. And when you first come out, you are hardwired with everything you'll ever feel to us. Everything you could ever tap into has been designed to be yours and at your disposal. And then what happens is through these little traumas, through these little breakdowns, little woundings, and what we call inhibitions to be all of yourself in the world, we learn these little markers in our biology that say, shh, that didn't work, or don't be so big, or you know what, maybe you're not good enough. And we begin to earn these injuries to our voice, so to speak. And so by the time we're into our child and teenage and young adult years, we have been inhibited. And it's time for us to peel back the layers back to our, not just our big voice, but our sharing with the world of who we are whole and complete again. And it's always going to be that process.
And that if we can get quiet enough to hear what those whispers are, what those messages are, and then bring them down into our hearts, we take this prayer, we take this deep wisdom, and then we activate it in our hearts with the answer of that deepest heart, soul's calling. And then we have the opportunity to take it into action.
There's a genius inside every feeling, every emotion, every experience. There's a gift inside all of it. And I think that's really, really important for us to remember and embrace.
Yeah.
And so now it's time for us to really claim them as our gifts.
Embracing them.
Not as our woes and poor us, I've got lots of small voices. No, lucky me, because these small voices have driven my greatness.
This is where we listen so deeply to what's calling us in our soul's innermost longing, and we start to hear it and feel it, and then we might be able to name it or speak it, or maybe not, but we know that something is stirring from deep in our soul. And as we start to listen in this way deep inside the heart, it starts calling us through these realms of the unmanifest through the manifesting and into the manifest.
The sounding is what starts our process of bringing our vision into the world, naming it, claiming it, moving it, speaking it, living it into our lives. And the sound is a big part of where everything begins.
What do you really want? What does your soul really want? What does your heart really want? And a part of you knows the answer. Don't worry about anything else. When we ask that question, what do I really want? We should feel that sense of awe, both scared, like, ooh, wow, that feels too big, right? Or something, but also like it should ring a bell of truth. And so when both of those are there, we're hitting into the sacred.
To me, like if you want to live a better life, you have to understand that healing makes life smoother, right? The challenges are not going to stop. But if you can heal yourself, if you can decrease that tension in your mind, if you can deal with your old patterns or old traumas that you're carrying, then you're going to have this much more powerful ability to just be effective in your life in a way that you weren't before.
Living authentically and really being aware of what you think what you feel, what you need, what you want. Because with the busyness of life, even in a pandemic, especially in a pandemic, we can lose sight of ourselves. We can erase ourselves. We can assume that other people's thoughts are our thoughts. We can live a life that is in constant reaction to everything that is happening. So if I am just reacting, I'm not authentically living. It is just everything is in response to everyone else.
What is it you really want? Not what the mind thinks you want, but what is it that you really want? And for me, just continuing to come back to my body, come back to my practice, to come back to what is tactile, to come back to what is secure, to come back into what I can rely on, and then use that to set a new foundation to allow this new flood of what I really desire to have even the opportunity to take root and come into more of a manifest form.
You know, many times we wait for other people, like our future is in their hands. If someone says yes to this, or if someone gives me this opportunity, then, you know, I can make it happen. But especially I think with Zoom and all this technology, like some of the dreams you were waiting for, you can manifest now.
So usually we're like, oh, I want to earn $1 million, right? Let's say I want to get $1 million. And then we work towards the $1 million. I like to go in the reverse. So for example, if the goal was, I want to make $1 million, I would ask myself, well, when I get $1 million, how would I feel? Oh, well, I would feel safe, or I would feel secure. I would feel wealthy. Okay. And then, so what I do from then is I like reverse engineer what is the emotion that I'm chasing, really? What's the feeling behind all of this? So that if I had the feeling, regardless of the $1 million or not, I still have what I wanted anyway from the goal.
You don't get what you want in life, you get what you are. What is it and who is it that you want to become? And so that's why I was just blown away when you said you want $1 million and you just went straight to the feeling.
My true wish is for as many of us as possible to really turn towards collective care and to look into our most immediate families and surroundings and communities, and look to see, like, right where we are, what is being marginalized, who is being pushed out into the places of greater oppression and even being erased by dominant culture. And that through this massive waking up inside our whole being, that we just start seeing this and saying, like, okay, this injustice is not okay, this injustice is not okay. Now, where am I going to make my contribution with the gifts that I have, like really pull through our magic in a big way for the benefit of the greater whole, and start bringing it into awesome action.
We have to be in the act of practicing radical communication around where our paths come together and where they diverge, and holding that in a lot of love, a lot of trust, and just mountains of forgiveness around the inevitable imperfections that arise.
Right now, I personally feel on a deep level, the world needs more people to step into their light. The world needs more people that are going to be in, we need more light in general. I don't know if you agree. I just feel like we need lightness right now, right? So I feel that we need more people that are not going to be afraid to put forward their thoughts.
What we've been shown is that everything that we're all manifesting together, we're all impacting one another, because we don't live in these silo bubble things. We're in relationship to everyone and everything.
For us to feel the vastness of love and connection, that even if you are somewhere physically by yourself, that we are not alone. And that's my hope for myself and for all of us.
If it's possible to see the disruption and the pain of the pandemic, as not only a disruption in so many painful ways in our lives, but actually an invitation toward integration, right? And if we integrate identity, what that means is not ignoring the realities that we live in and not trying to really right the wrongs, identify them, and really explore them and change them. It also means from the inside out saying who we are is not just a solo self that the culture has been telling us. So the simple statement I would say is, we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Don't give up the me, but realize that we are also a we, and you keep them both in this integrated identity.
Music teaches us to find harmonic distances between us and those that we're sharing our voice with. And so how can we share our voice in safe spaces with people that we resonate with? How can we respond to the requests that are coming to us with our voice, with a yes, and to be able to receive a request to sing and to speak up.
Now, in that moment of authentically bringing the suffering in this body out into the we, it becomes part of a larger system, and in you receiving it with the love and kindness that you did, then what happens is I start belonging to a larger whole than just the private, isolated self in this body. And that itself is healing.
That's so much of the spirit of activation and magic, and just bringing through the creative energy gets so amplified, and it's so much fun when we have real friendship and friends who support us and see us and will be there for us when we're at our, most vulnerable places, which you have been there for me so many times, and just right there with each other, bearing witness through it all and just loving each other so much. And the more that we experience like that whole arc of life, from the deepest pains and the most ecstatic joys, we are deepening in our intimacy through these friendships, and it just builds this bridge of possibilities.
This is, I think, what the vital force of love is all about, is realizing we are each other.
I'd like to send out a wish for the world, for each and every individual on this planet to realize their inherent and distinct and unique value as a being, and a voice that needs to be heard.
We are more than just literally our skin-defined inner separate selves, that we are deeply interconnected. The body's important for sure, but it's not the end of the story. There's a much bigger self that I hope we can manifest in the new year together.
My wish for anyone listening to this right now is that you know how powerful you are. And you have the power to keep yourself safe and strong and create a reality that is beautiful beyond belief.
Something I want to be mindful of is not then just imagining how can I get back to 2019. It's like a part of that rhythm was dysfunctional, right? A part of that rhythm, I don't want that anymore. And so integrating and creating a new vision based on the awakenings that came up for us this year.
2020 is like pushing us to the limit to show up for our soul lessons and for ways that we have to be accountable, maybe ways that we have not been accountable, both personally and collectively for the greater whole. And we have to see it and turn to it and embrace it so that we can work with it and tell a new narrative and co-create a new culture that actually cares for the power of the we and the power of the heart and of the collective heart. And that's where real magic happens. So 2021 is just gonna be like,
My wish for you is that you remember your magic.
My wish for you is to find true love.
My wish for you is a life filled with ceremony and magical ritual.
My wish for you is that you boldly be who you really are.
My wish for you is that you would know how deeply you are loved.
My wish for you is that you find unshakable peace.
My wish for you is so much more harmony, peace, and self-awareness.
My wish for you is to believe in your magic and bring it all the way through.
May you come home to this instrument that you've been gifted, this body, and be at peace.
May you find peace and clarity in an integrated life.
May you remember that we're not alone.
May you unveil your greatest gifts to the world.
May you come home to yourself, to the fullness of everything that you are.
May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be free from danger, and may you live life with ease.
May you continue reclaiming your power.
May you flourish and thrive.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I truly wish you the best.
Happy New Year. This is a new beginning. Grab hold of it and enjoy.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Woohoo! Let's bring it on!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year to ya. Happy New Year to ya.
Hey!
Happy New Year.